The following program is made possible in part by Whelan Presley Funeral Home and Crematory, now providing live streaming capabilities for your loved one's funeral or memorial service at their chapel in Rock Island.
At IHM VCU, we've always been here for you. You are and always will be our top priority. We care about your financial and physical health, and we are here. IHM VCU is a proud supporter of WQPT.
The lines are drawn, let the challenges begin. Using dance to recover, and a band marking its 20th by playing hits from 100 years ago in the cities. It's amazing and inspirational how some people are able to survive even the worst of times. This month, we're marking Juneteenth by bringing you some stories of strength and inspiration. That's just ahead. But first, Illinois and a decision that lasts a decade. Illinois Democrats drew up new redistricting lines that will govern the state legislature for the next 10 years. Republicans say they didn't get a say over the lines and say Governor J.B. Pritzker broke a campaign promise to only approve new redistricting if the borders were drawn by an independent group, not lawmakers. So what happened? We talked with Rock Island County Democratic Chair, State Representative Mike Halpin, about reapportionment and the accusation of broken promises. The end of that June deadline is often cited by Democrats, but it's actually a deadline for political resolution to redistricting. If Democrats had no plan, a non-political group would draw the lines, and that's what Republicans are actually calling for in their federal lawsuit. So how can Democrats defend the new state redistricting? And joining us is Rock Island County Democratic Chair, State Representative Mike Halpin. I know you had hearings locally in regards to redistricting, but still it seemed to be a backdoor deal that was hidden by Democrats.
No, Jim, not at all. You know, this is a process where we took input from our communities throughout the state. We had an in-person hearing here in the Quad Cities. We also had a virtual hearing for folks in this area to be able to participate and make their views known. Honestly, there weren't too many people that participated locally, but one thing that we heard was that we want to make sure to maintain the diversity of our representation here in the state of Illinois and make sure that carries through.
Well, diversity is really a big deal when it comes to the Chicago area because you have so many ethnicities in certain neighborhoods. And as you know, 10 years ago, underrepresentation and making sure that a Hispanic community was well represented actually ended up in the court system. So, I mean, that was a critical issue. What's the critical issue as far as Western Illinois? Was it making sure that rural areas were represented? And why is the Quad Cities pretty much just one district for the House?
So rural representation is certainly important, but I am going to push back on about, racial and ethnic diversity. We have a strong African American and Latino population here in the Quad Cities, and it was important to our local activists to make sure those communities were not split up here in the area. And one thing I did notice about this map is that it does keep those communities here together in the Quad Cities. And I think that's important and can't be overlooked. Diversity is not just a Chicago issue, it's an issue throughout the state of Illinois. But turning back to your observation about rural communities, it's also important to keep rural communities together and make sure they have representation for their interests and they're not diluted. And I think if you look at the state maps that we've passed, those goals are met as well.
Well, that one district that you do kind of notice, it goes from Moline down through Galesburg all the way to Macomb, a very slender district. Can you explain the rationale behind that one?
Well, I think overall it's important that we understand we want to keep those communities of interest together. I do think that Macomb and Galesburg and the Quad Cities share some university populations, some manufacturing populations, other urban populations that are consistent and are important to keep together.
Part of the lawsuit from Republicans says that you're not using census numbers. You're using numbers from the American Community Survey instead. They say it's not as accurate and it just isn't fair. Now, we know that the census was delayed because of COVID. Would it have been more important to wait for those census numbers to come out?
I think it was most important to make sure to meet our constitutional obligation by the end of session. And I think the claims about the data being off are certainly not accurate. There was testimony at hearings during this process that, as far as they can tell, the experts can tell, of course, the deviation is minuscule, if any. And I think it was important that we met the timeline, got maps passed in a way that does reflect the diversity of the state.
You know that every 10 years there's an argument that it should be a non-political effort to redraw the state lines in Illinois. And every 10 years it seems like, okay, it's still done that way. What is your pledge now in 2021 as far as coming up to 2030? I know we're 10 years away, but I mean, should this be taken out of the hands of the politicians?
Well, you're incredibly optimistic, and I appreciate that about my career in 10 years. Look, I think that in a perfect world, we should be having independent commissions, or at least bipartisan commissions that can actually get the job done. Unfortunately, what we've seen here in Illinois is that the Republicans want to take any chance they can get to have the power to draw the maps, and we've seen it across the country as well. Republicans want to take these power grabs. We've seen it in the U.S. Senate, where they withhold Democratic nominations and then rush through Republican nominations to our court. We can see how they're obstructing, pro-democracy bills in the U.S. Congress. So I have no doubt that here in Illinois, the Republicans are in that same situation, and they were hoping for a chance that they could draw a Republican map like they've done in states like North Carolina and Pennsylvania. I think we did a reasonable job of meeting our obligation, making sure all folks in Illinois are represented. And I think for now, that's the best that we can certainly do.
Illinois is now a fully open state. COVID-19 is now clearly in our rearview mirror. What do you take from it, COVID that is, the restrictions, the emergency proclamations from the governor? What do you take that as a legislator, that the governor didn't really include the legislature that much in some of these decisions over the past year? Is that something that maybe pushed back or maybe looked at a little closely if there's ever another future emergency like we saw over the last year?
We can certainly look at ways to adjust how we respond to this, but the reality is the legislature is a deliberative body, as you know, and it takes some time in a lot of ways to produce legislation. We authorize the governor to make these type of decisions in this type of emergency. That's his role. And I think for the most part, he did that job very well. I think you and I have talked about, and I've talked to other people about criticisms with the unemployment insurance department and some other issues. But on the whole, I think he made a lot of responsible decisions at the very beginning that prevented Illinois from going on an even steeper curve of the spread of this disease. So although I think the legislature always has an oversight role and should act when we feel it's appropriate, I think the governor does and deserves to have a certain amount of leeway in how to respond to these situations.
You look back at the last 18 months and what a different world it is, what a different nation it is, and what a different Illinois it is. What did you hear from constituents, and what are you still hearing as far as COVID is concerned?
As you might expect, we get a lot fewer calls about this issue. We're still getting a lot of unemployment insurance calls, of course. But most people I think are prepared to go back to normal, so to speak. I think there are some people that are still cautious about going out and being around a lot of people, but the data certainly shows that if you're vaccinated, the odds of being seriously harmed by this disease going forward are much smaller. And I think it is time to start getting back out in the world and doing the things that we're used to doing, the things that we weren't able to do last summer, we can start doing again today. What I hear most is that people are very excited to get back to that normal.
Illinois State Representative Mike Halpin, chair of the Rock Island County Democratic Party. In a moment, the grace of dance and its healing power. Plus, Josh Duffy and a 2-decade gig. But first, with Illinois now fully open, here's Laura Adams with plenty of great ideas for you if you want to go out and about.
This is Out and About through June 30th. We've got museums, river tours, and classes galore. Plus, it's time for baseball at Modern Woodman Park to root for the River Bandits. At Circa 21, catch Beehive, the 60s musical, and for kids, Elephant and Piggies, We're in a Play. The Art of Motion Dance Theater at Bass Street Landing perform the 17th at 6, followed by the Grey Wolf Band at 7. Mississippi Bend players return with the drama Red June 17th through 20th, followed by Mary and Ethel How I Learned to Sing June 24th to 27th at the Bruner Theater. Every Friday night, join the fun at Mercado on 5th in downtown Moline, and bring your lawn chairs to RME's Live at 5 Free Courtyard series, Fridays from 5 to 7, while the 2021 Geneseo Music Fest kicks off the 18th at 5. Join WQPT's virtual trivia night the 18th at 7, while the Quad Cities Juneteenth Festival takes place at the Lincoln Center starting at 11. Lincoln Park is the location for Genesius Guild's production of Measure for Measure running the 19th through the 27th, while Bishop Hill celebrate their Midsummer Music Festival the 26th. There's improvisational comedy the 26th at the Black Box Theater starting at 7:30, or visit Schwiebert Park in Rock Island for the Quad City Arts Chalk Art Fest the 26th and 27th. Plus catch Seven Dust at the Rust Belt the 29th. For more information, visit WQPT.org.
Thank you, Laura. Nita Jones has a story to tell. The details may not be known by some of the young dancers she teaches, mentors, and helps grow into confident young women. But as we mark Juneteenth, we sat down with the founder of the Pink Dynamic Dolls, who has a dance competition planned for July 10th at the Davenport River Center. So Nita, why did you create the Pink Dynamic Dolls, and what's the name behind that?
Okay, so I'll start with the name Pink Dynamic Dolls. So I got the color pink from some of my girls. They love the color pink. And I've been knowing some of these girls just before dance as well. So I kind of had their input on the name. Dynamic is just basically like a consistent change, active, progressing, keep moving forward, positive energy. So it's a lot behind like the name Dynamic for them.
Well, and for you, it means an awful lot as well, because, I mean, tell me a little bit about what you had to go through, because you loved dance as a child, and then you kind of gave up for a while because of personal issues.
Correct. So I've always danced. So I've been dancing for a long time. And I even did Metro and Rock Island. I did North High School. So when I started dancing at North High School, I kind of put it on hold to help my mom out with my brothers and sisters. So from the age of 9 on up, I kind of came from a single family home. It was my mom, my brother, and my sister. So I had to just stop for a second, help her out with the kids, and then I just always still manage to dance. Like I'll dance anywhere, or even in the neighborhood, I'll put girls together or anyone together and just start dancing or making up dances and doing our own shows. So when I graduated from school, I kind of seen the Dancing Dolls on TV. I don't know if you ever watched that show before. And it inspired me like to start my own dance studio and help girls out that wasn't able to, or some of them are just, following my footsteps. A lot of them come from a single parent home where it's just a mom. I have 48 girls, about 32 parents, and a lot of them are single parents. So just kind of can relate to the girls and helping them out, mentoring them, having them keep going, and eventually starting their own studio. So that's that.
Well, let's be honest. I mean, dance is your life. Dance is so important to you.
Yes.
Does it give you a freedom? Does it give you a chance to express yourself? Is that something that you're trying to pass on to these girls?
Oh, correct. So when they come here, I don't know what their lifestyle is outside of dance. So when they come here, I always tell them, just release your stress, anxiety, and just dance. It makes you feel free. Be yourself, the confidence that they have. Some of them even, I can see them walking in with attitude, but then as soon as they come in here, it changes. It's like their home. So that, give them that chance to have a second home or another place to go to is awesome. So yes, dance is really, it's just like we feel free. We don't have to worry about anything. Even myself, dealing with everyday life, I come in here and I'm fine. I don't think about nothing. I'm focused.
Well, we're marking Juneteenth right now, and you take a look at this new generation and how change is happening and they're not ready to just live with the status quo. You got to be pretty proud of these girls that you're mentoring.
Yes. Yes. And we're teaching them now about Juneteenth. I know some of them still don't know much, and some of them are learning it in school, but we've been focusing and teaching them about Juneteenth, like the freedom that they have without, back then with the slavery and all that stuff was going on, we wouldn't be able to do this. So.
You've also got a big dance competition that we should talk about. I mean, that's going to be in July at the River Center. Tell me about that.
It's July 10th. It's at the River Center. Doors open at 11 o'clock. So the show starts at 1. I'm bringing teams down from Rockford, Chicago, St. Louis, all over. So it's around 8 teams, and they're going to be at the River Center performing. We start from ages 3 to 18. So we'll be down there all day. We also have a host coming from the hit show Bring It, Jay Fever. A lot of people know who he is, especially the kids. So he'll also be hosting our dance competition, so that'll be exciting.
Yeah, it's going to be very exciting, and you're going to have a lot of people involved.
Yes. So we're thinking our goal is 1,000. We've already, I feel like we have 800 right now, and we're still not done selling tickets. So hopefully we'll be able to have a full house.
Tell me about the Pink Dynamic Dolls' future. What are you hoping after the dance competition? What do you have other performances that are planned?
Yep. So we actually go to Chicago before July 10th, and then we are going to Miami in August. We're going to South Carolina in October.
Wow. And
then, so we're a traveling dance team, so we're funding for that as well. So, yep.
You're spreading the joy is what you're doing.
Yes, and we have another, we'll have open enrollment in October because there's been a lot of people asking on our Facebook pages as well. So we're always accepting girls, and we start from ages 3 to 17.
Wow, starting at 3. They're so cute at that age. So tell me, like you said, open enrollment comes in October. How do people contact you?
So they can reach us at our on our Facebook page, Pink Dynamic Dolls. We respond immediately if we're just 5-10 minutes. It comes right to my phone. Also, they can stop out and check us out at 1711 Fifth Avenue in Moline. We also have a website, pinkdynamicdolls.com, that they can also reach us at.
Nita Jones, head of the Pink Dynamic Dolls. And once again, tickets are now on sale for the Shake the Floor dance competition, July 10th at Davenport's River Center. Electric Larry is a musician in the cities who says 50s and 60s rock is his greatest influence. He came to the stage of Moline's Black Box Theater before the pandemic swept through the area, and he performed one of his original works for us. Here's Electric Larry with I'm Still Here Hurting.
I'm sitting here hurting over you. I'm sitting here hurting over you. I'm sitting here, don't know what to do. I'm sitting here looking at the wall. I'm sitting here looking at the wall. I'm sitting here wondering what went wrong. I'm sitting here wishing you were home. I'm sitting here wishing you were home. I'm sitting here wondering what went wrong. I'm sitting here crying over you. I'm sitting here crying over you. I'm sitting here, don't know what to do. But darling, I know I love you. But darling, I know I love you. But darling, I can't go on without you. I'm sitting here hurting over you. I'm sitting here looking at the wall. I'm sitting here wishing you were home. I'm sitting here crying over you. But darling, I know I love you. But darling, can't go on without you. But darling, I know I love you. But darling.
Electric Larry and I'm Still Here Hurting, performed on the stage of the Black Box Theater in Moline. Well, we feature a lot of different styles of music on the cities. Moline native Josh Duffy has kept Bix Beiderbecke's music alive ever since he was a high school student. But as a drummer, one of his heroes is legendary Gene Krupa. Now, Josh's signature band, Josh Duffy and his orchestra, marking 20 years of playing with a special concert that's planned at Rock Island's Lincoln Park. 20th anniversary of your orchestra. I mean, time flies, but you know what? How important was this orchestra to your life?
Yeah, it was really important. I started it when I was 21 years old. And so I was, at that point, an adult that could enjoy an adult beverage. And it's like, well, you know what? I've been wanting to do music like this for a long time. And the music of the 20s, 30s, and 40s, there weren't too many groups around the Quad Cities playing it in a big band atmosphere. So I thought, well, I wanted to come out and do something a little bit different, play music that other groups possibly aren't performing. And I had a lot of people that kept saying, no, you can't do a big band, that's too difficult. No, you can't do that. And I literally said, this is something I want to do. This is my dream. So I had people that were supporting me along the way. And that's how we got to that first concert on June 30th of 2001. And I did everything myself as far as booking the venue, getting sponsors, selling tickets, getting the music, getting everything organized. It was a one-man show for doing that with support of other people on the outside. But I didn't have like a crew of people that could help me like the Bix Festival does. I have all the volunteers. It was just me. And I had the event at the Moline Community Center on 5th Avenue in Moline because I wanted to also pay homage to Louis Bellson because he was such an important part of my musical life. And there I was on 5th Avenue, just a couple blocks where the Bellson Music Store was. And that's where we had the first concert. And I'm thinking, oh, a couple people will probably show up. Well, there were hundreds of people there. And we broke fire code. And the fire marshal showed up and said, everything's okay. Just make sure no more people come in. And so the music went on. There was people dancing. The band sounded fantastic. And it was the start to what's been an amazing 20 years.
Well, and it wasn't just a phase in your life. You would think that, you know, as a kid, and 21, I know you're an older kid, but to have this love of 20s, 30s, big bands, 40s music, you would think it might be a phase, but wow, it's been a real integral part of your life.
It has been. And the first concert is what started it all. And growing up, I was going down to the Hunters Club in Rock Island, listening to the Riverboaters Jazz Band on Friday nights and sitting in with bands and getting the experience. So when I had my own big band, here I am leading it, getting to pick the music and in charge. And at that time, the two drummers that were really influential in my life were Louis Bellson and the great Gene Krupa. And Louis Bellson won Krupa's contest in 1941, beat out 10,000 drummers. And the music that his orchestra had was so exciting to play, especially from a drumming standpoint. So that's why I wanted to do that music on my first show and call it a tribute to Gene Krupa. So thinking, well, people will know that name. They don't know my name yet. So they'll come out and enjoy that Krupa music. So I found arrangements that were just like the records. The band sounded fantastic with solos and everything. But that's what started everything. Then after I did that first show, I was starting to get more into the music of the 20s because I realized there weren't a lot of people playing the Bix style music in its true form. So that's what started everything. And so it was starting in the late 30s and 40s, but then I took in the 1920s. So I had a great, more or less 30-year span of music I could cover.
Well, and you're still honoring Gene Krupa. That is the point of your concert. It's coming up in Lincoln Park in Rock Island, Tuesday, June 29th. No COVID restrictions. Come one, come all. It's free. Tell me about that. That's an exciting concert. It's going to mark your anniversary, but also, like you said, salute the great Gene Krupa.
Exactly. So when I was thinking of this, and I realized with this being our 20th anniversary year that COVID restrictions were being lifted, I'm like, okay, this is going to be great. I wanted to bring back all that music that we played from our first performance. Some of those we haven't played in 20 years. So the music's going to come back, and I've got new Gene Krupa arrangements. But I thought, what better venue than Lincoln Park and their great concert series they have there, Under the Stars, right there on the park is so beautiful, and a free concert for people just to come out and hear big band music with vocalists and what it would have sounded like back in 2001. And so that's why I think it's a fantastic combination. It's 1 day shy of our actual concert date of June 30th, but that's as close as we could get. And the Moline Community Center is not there anymore. The Planning Center is on Fifth Avenue, and that's actually run by Matt Sievertson, who's one of my saxophone players. So it's a neat kind of a bond that we have together. It's like, hey, my workplace is where you had your first concert, but we can't take the whole big band into his workplace and fill it with people.
Well, I want to take you from big band to jazz because I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Bix Beiderbecke and the Bix Fest that's coming up. You are going to be you're a concert performer there, but I mean, this is a huge year. It's the 50th year of the festival, but it's also a milestone in, well, sadly, I was going to say Bix's life, but actually it's Bix's passing.
Right. It's going to mark the 90th anniversary of Bix's passing because he passed away on August 6th, 1931. And so what I've actually worked out with the Bix board, because I've been off the board for 4 years now, just to pursue more of the music end of it, my Greystone Monarchs will be performing Friday evening, August 6th at the 8 p.m. time slot. So when we get to 8:30 p.m., which will be 9:30 p.m. Eastern time when Bix passed, the group is going to stop, do a moment of silence for Bix, and then we're going to go into Singing the Blues. And that will be an entire Bix set between 8 and 9 p.m., where people can hear all the Bix music from the Trumbauer days, from the Wolverines, from Whiteman, and from Goldcat, to really honor Bix on that anniversary of his passing.
Talk about honoring Bix. I mean, in the 20 years since you started your orchestra to now, you sit there and you look at what Davenport has done with the Bix Museum and the fest continuing. I mean, the salute to Bix, as you know, is well deserved, but wow, it's really well preserved as well.
It is. I think it's so exciting what's happening here in Davenport for people really embracing Bix, again, from the museum starting up and gaining a lot of momentum with people coming through to check things out. And now, again, with everything being lifted, they can get out there and see the exhibit more. But we're back in the roaring 20s again. And a lot of people have to remember when everything was happening back in the late teens with the flu epidemic and then people wearing masks, that's part of the reason the roaring 20s happened, is they could ditch the mask, go out, have a good time because it was safe to go back out. We're reliving that 100 years later. So that's why people are so excited to get back out. And for me, I've got the pure music of the 20s that I can provide the Quad City community and not to more or less relive 100 years ago, but to now celebrate. We're moving forward. We're back in the roaring 20s. Let's have a good time.
That's Josh Duffy. Josh Duffy and his orchestra's special 20th anniversary concert, Tuesday, June 29th at Lincoln Park in Rock Island. On the air, on the radio, on the web, on your mobile device, and streaming on your computer. Thanks for taking some time to join us as we talk about the issues on the cities.
The following program is made possible in part by Whelan Presley Funeral Home and Crematory, now providing live streaming capabilities for your loved one's funeral or memorial service at their chapel in Rock Island.
At IHM VCU, we've always been here for you. You are and always will be our top priority. We care about your financial and physical health, and we are here. IHM VCU is a proud supporter of WQPT.